Good morning and welcome to episode number 4 on our Freedom series, where today we are going to discuss why freedom requires action. So, every single Christian knows that not every time we ask for something are we going to receive it. Not every time are we seeking something are we going to find it. Not every time are we going to knock, the door is going to be open to us. But most Christians also know that the more we keep asking, the more we seek, and the more we keep knocking, eventually we're going to find what we're looking for. It might not be the answer yes to something that we asked for a long time ago, but it could be something brand new that actually gives us the life because Jesus knew he didn't have to answer for us then because he had something better in store for us. Today we're going to look at Matthew chapter 7, verses 7 through 8. It says this: "Ask and it will be given to you, seek and you will find, knock and it will be open to you. For everyone who asks receives, and he who seeks finds, and to him who knocks it will be opened." I love that verse because it begins with this idea of movement. As we talked about in our first series on Is It Living, every single one of these is an action word. And so we're going to take it piece by piece by looking at ask, seek, and knock. So let's start off with the word ask. Now, I wanted to kind of start it off with kind of something that's happened to me over the course of the years. And if you're a parent and you've had a 3-year-old before, you're going to relate really well to this. If you've ever been around a child and they're just starting to make sense of the world, what you're starting to see is that they're always asking questions. I mean, you could have literally just given them a theological thesis on grace, and all of a sudden they're going to look at you and go, "But why?" And then they'll be distracted 2 minutes later and go, "What's that? Oh, Dad, what's that?" There's so many questions because there's so much information that they don't yet know that they want to know answers to. And as a parent, I know you've done this before because you probably answered the same question thousands of times. But you know what, as a parent, you never get tired of the same old question because that's your child who is basically asking questions about the existence of why things are the way that they are. And so when we ask Jesus some of the things that we are looking for, we got to ask in faith. In the same way that a father would never turn down an answer to a son, we know that Jesus will never turn down an answer to us. Those that ask in faith, those that are looking, those that are confessing, those same things are being responded to because God, our Father, loves us. And then when we seek, ask and seek. Seeking is one of those things that requires another bit of action. And I know for me, it's like looking for lost keys. When you go through this process of looking for your keys, you actually have to go through a full-on series of replicating where you were, where you might have been, where you think you've been, where you thought you've been, in order to find where the things actually are. When we go through this process, we actually realize that we are reflecting on every single thing in order to find our lost keys because we know we can't get to where we're going until we seek what we need and find what we have to have in order to turn our car on to get where we're going. Go through this process and we go through it diligently because we want to know where we left our key. And the same thing is true when we're seeking God's face. There has to be this heart of knowing that if I want to get to here, I have to go through the process. I have to look back. I have to reflect on all the things that can eventually get me to where I want to go. See, it says in Matthew chapter 6, verses 33, "But seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you." That active reaching towards God, that seeking of his righteousness, is going to give us from a place from where we were to get us to where we need to be. And last but not least, knock. You know, it's one of those things that Mick always talked about his time knocking on doors, going door to door, selling products. And it's one of those things that if you know somebody's home and you knock and nobody answers, man, if you're not really diligent about going in and making a sale or really getting the information to that individual, you're going to knock once and turn around. But if you've asked all these questions and you've diligently sought after God and you're now standing at the door, how long are we willing to knock? I wonder if that's been a question that's ever been asked to you. How long are you willing to sit at the door? Because I know when I've knocked on a door before and I know that they're there, but maybe they're in the backyard, there's that awkward, moment where you're sitting there waiting. Do you knock again? Is it too soon? I don't want to knock and they're right at the end of the door. But how many times are you willing to keep on knocking till someone answers? Can we still have that childlike atmosphere towards Christ as when we did or when we are engaging with our 3-year-olds and they keep asking us the same questions? Asking and seeking and knocking are all action words. And as we talk about freedom, we realize that the more we ask for forgiveness and we ask for a deeper faith and we ask for the things that God truly seeks for us, which are his righteousness, we end up having to find ourselves at the footsteps of God, knocking. Jesus is excited because you showed up. But our freedom is eventually going to be realized because we're continually standing at the door, waiting on our Savior to open up the door. And when he does, he's going to give us exactly what he needs because he explains it right afterwards. A loving father, when asked for bread, wouldn't give a stone. God knows the desires of your heart and wants to diligently set you free from anything that you're asking for, you're diligently seeking, and you're knocking to be in his presence. Guys, I hope you have a fantastic day. We'll see you next time. Love you. Because if you've ever been around a young child who's just starting to make sense of the world,